Here is my tier list of what I think. There's ads all over the place. I don't know how to get rid of them. Oh, there it is. That's amazing. Okay, let's get into this. So, if we're thinking of all the bars in the game, there's like, how many of them? So, every bar basically looks like a candy bar, but that's alright, we'll just ignore that. But they all serve a function and a purpose, and they can all be used to craft various different things, not just weapons, but, well, not for all of them. And you can make some pretty hefty items. Alright, let's just, let's start with, let's just go in order like this. Sounds good. So a demonite. So demonite is the was the original evil in the game before Crimtane, and I remember it being pretty cool. I don't usually do the the corruption because I kind of prefer the crimson. Like, I just think it has better items and stuff. But I think overall, I think like in the original kind of game experience, I remember demonite weapons being pretty good. They were pretty fast, like for pre-hard mode. So I'll give it a B. And also, not to mention, the bow was amazing. Sword was okay. Pickaxe was okay, but at least it was a step up because you couldn't mine crap with platinum. So, all right, next one in the series is gold. So gold is interesting because you can use gold to craft a variety of things. Man, if we could just make gold armor in real life, that would like solve everything, but you know, it's not how it works. But yeah, anyways, so you can craft a bit of things with it, and I think I'm still kind of a noob at this game, but what I remember, I mean, you can make gold bricks, you can make gold chandeliers, you can make, yeah, you can make armor and stuff like that. But it's a very like abundant, yeah, you can make a throne, candle, like, so you can make cool stuff with it. The gold armor, I don't remember it being particularly that great, although I thought it was really good fighting against the, oh shit, fighting against the Eye Cthulhu. So I guess I'll put it in a B tier as well. Oh my god, no. Don't do that. Okay, iron. Iron's interesting because iron is probably one of the only ores, actually iron and lead, because they're kind of the same class, that give you a bunch of stuff. So, well, not bunch of stuff, but they have several functions. Like, you can make the anvil, and you can make an iron bucket, and you can make, like, well, you can not only make armor with it, but like there's just like, even, yeah, like even iron bar, it's like you can make chests, you can make barrels, you can make bathtubs, toilets, like everything, you know. And then you got that sawmill stuff. So there's just so much, and it's one of the rare early in-game ores that is also important for later on because you need it to craft the mechanical bosses. So oh shit, I'm gonna put it right above gold, just a little bit, because I feel like gold, it's like, yeah, you can make cool stuff with gold, but I think iron is can make better stuff with it. Lead is basically the same thing. However, if I'm not mistaken, I think lead is actually slightly better than it's slightly better than iron by like 2 defense, and it does all the same stuff. So I'm gonna put it like right here because literally all the other functions are the same, ignoring the fact that in real life lead poisons you, but we're not gonna we're not gonna talk about that. So with meteorite bar is pretty interesting. Well, they're all interesting. I've said like, oh, this is interesting. No, yeah, the iron bar, sorry, I keep saying it, meteorite bar is really cool. You can make like lightsabers, and like it's good for like magic and all that stuff. And also it's also, compared to like the other ores, the meteorite is all just kind of like right there, so you can mine like like 500 to like 1,000 of it. Just, it's all in the same place, minus there being enemies, but there's enemies with everything. So I'm gonna put it right here because I remember having a good ass time using this stuff. Also, the fact that you can craft lightsabers and magic, like space guns, like, that's, how is that not amazing, first of all? So I thought that was cool. I think like it's one of those things. And also, not to mention, once you get later into the game, once you get later into the game, you can still use it to upgrade your lightsabers. I know they call them phase sabers, due to copyright, but it's basically the same thing. And I also like about meteorite that also I found it kind of weird though that there was never like a meteorite pickaxe, but I just thought that was weird. But okay, next one. Mithril. So Mithril is a hard mode, is the first hard mode weapon. So it's better than, like, it's stronger than Cobalt, but I remember it kind of being weird. I thought the sword was kind of like janky. The Mithril sword. It had a bunch of like weapons though that I thought was cool, like the Mithril halberd, Mithril war axe, and I like that it gave you more variety. Like now there's chainsaws and drills and all that stuff. But I thought that the Mithril anvil was just kind of like what, because I was kind of confused at first. Like when I first played the game, it was like, why is there a Mithril anvil? That doesn't really make sense. But I mean, I thought it was overall like pretty good, but I'm gonna put it at a C just because it was kind of confusing to C is not a bad tier, okay? I could make it worse than that, but to what I remember, I thought Mithril, like, I thought the armor was pretty cool, but there wasn't, it was just kind of weird, I guess, the progression. It was kind of like one of those armors that you're just kind of only using to progress, and you weren't really using it to, like, have forever, you know what I mean? It wasn't like the beetle armor or anything like that. Okay, Orichalcum is the counterpart to Mithril, I'm pretty sure. But this is like the cool version of Mithril, okay? Orichalcum, you can make like bubblegum shit with it. I mean, that's just awesome, it's fucking, it's bubblegum, okay? I remember the armor being okay, but since it's basically the same tier, it's pretty good, I remember, but it was never like, yet again, it was kind of, I saw it as better than the Mithril, like just overall. Also, Orichalcum is really good for like melee weapons and stuff, so I'm gonna put it at a like B tier, I guess. Okay, next one is Palladium. So Palladium, it looks a lot like copper, but it's nothing like copper. I thought the Palladium was like a good start for hard mode, but it's not the greatest. Also, the Palladium armor looks awesome, I thought, but it's pretty fast. Like, it's a really fast, the weapons are pretty fast, and but I remember them not being the strongest, but I think overall for like the first thing you'd probably equip in hard mode, I thought it was pretty good. It's kind of like Cobalt, but I kind of prefer the Palladium, so I'm gonna put it at probably the B tier as well. Okay, Platinum. So Platinum is like Gold, but it's like a better version of Gold. Platinum, I remember being very strong. I currently have Platinum armor on my playthrough of the game, and the Platinum armor is really good defense. Overall, really good defense for pre-hard mode, and it's good for fighting the Eye Cthulhu, that kind of stuff. So Platinum, and it's worth a lot. So I'm gonna put it like right here, I guess. Yeah, that's a good spot for it. Okay, Silver bar. Silver is kind of like an armor that's kind of forgettable, I'm not gonna lie. There's not really anything particularly special about Silver, except for the bars kind of being worth kind of a bit, and being able to craft things with Silver. There's not really that much to it, so I'm gonna put it at like a D, C. Well, I'll put it at like a low C, because you can find it in chests, and I mean, you can find platinum in chests as well, but that's why it's up here. But at least you can find it in like gold chests and stuff, so it's not the worst. It's not the worst out there, and the weapons are okay. The weapons aren't like terrible. It's not like some of the lower stuff, which we'll get into. Okay, so I remember Adamantite being really good for like, so Adamantite was one of the more advanced kind of bars that you could get, because you could craft. It was kind of like in the harder modes where there's more classes, but I feel like adamantite is like, it kind of amps up kind of the extreme of the power of the different armors. So I thought adamantite was really good fighting the mech bosses, but I usually know that people might not have as good armor when they're fighting the mech bosses, but overall it's really good for ranged. I've always found it good for, like, because I'm kind of a ranged person myself, and I always saw adamantite kind of good. Yeah, because it's not like super like amazing, but I think overall it's good. It buffs up your character enough where you don't feel as threatened by the beginning of the game anymore. So, or the beginning of hard mode rather. It's kind of like in real life when you get older and you know, you're no longer like 18, but you're kind of like a young adult, and you're like, okay, I get shit now. I'm starting to get used to life. So I'm gonna put it at, like, I'm actually gonna put it at an A tier. Tin, I don't like tin, to be honest, because it's tin, okay? You can't really do anything with tin that useful. I mean, it's good for, like, I mean, slimes drop it. What else? I mean, it's not that good for really anything at this point. I mean, you can't even, I think really the only thing I've gotten out of tin was, it's like, okay, is this kind of starting kind of thing or the game, but you literally can't make that much with tin. It doesn't have much usage, so I'm gonna put it at like E. It's certainly better than copper. Copper is even worse, but yeah, we'll get into that. Tungsten, tungsten is a little bit better than silver, but not by much. But pretty much kind of has the same kind of properties. So, all right. So what are we at now? Hellstone. Okay, so Hellstone is cool because Hellstone was kind of like, this was, so I remember this, using this armor fighting the wall of flesh, and it's really powerful, a pre-hard mode armor. But once you get into hard mode, I mean, you're basically fucked at that point. And it becomes, you realize, like, it's good for pre-hard mode, but once you get into hard mode, it's like, holy crap, it's no longer strong anymore. So it's good. It's good for pre-hard mode, but it's not good for hard mode. And it's absolutely necessary when, you know, you need to fight like the wall of flesh and, you know, that kind of stuff. So, and also the weapons are pretty awesome. Like, I know, yeah, you can make the volcano. I know it was called the Fiery Greatsword. The Phoenix Blaster, super useful. The pickaxe was relatively fast, I remember. And overall, like, I think it had good benefits to it that I think that a lot of the stuff before it didn't have. And you can, not to mention, like, the stuff that you can craft. Like, you can craft the flamerang, and it's useful stuff. You're definitely gonna need it. So I'll put it at a low A tier. Hollowed bar. Okay, this one's interesting because this is the first one. I say they're all interesting. I mean, they are, but except for like tin and shit. So, okay, hollowed is really cool because you need it for hard mode, and you can craft the Excalibur, you can craft the Drags, and there's no ore for this. You have to get it by fighting the mechanical bosses, but it's really valuable shit. And I just remember the armor was very powerful. It has a wide variety of usage, like just everything. It increases your buff, increases your melee damage, your speed, minion damage, magic damage. It just increases everything. And I thought that was really rewarding, because it was like, oh yes, finally armor that we can actually use to be useful in the game. So I'm gonna put it at like A tier. Up here. Colophorite, I remember this was one of the highest armors that I got to. I never actually got to the end of the game. I got pretty close, but I experimented with higher ores, so I know how they work. You know what I'm saying. But so Colophorite bar, and that's why I'm doing my playthrough, because I genuinely want to get to it. So you need the adamantite or titanium forge, but the weapons for it is pretty awesome. The claymore was really good, and then there's the saber, and then there's the shot bow, and there's just all sorts of like armor being really good stuff. And the armor, not to mention the armor, like the Colophorite claymore shoots like a laser The armor, it's like it has this like crystal above you that like protects you, and it's one of those only armors where you can just be AFK and you're not gonna get bothered. In the old versions, I think Colophorate was weaker than, yeah, Leaf Crystal, slightly weaker, but I think they've actually made it a little bit better than the hollowed bar. And it was also really good to fight the hard mode bosses, such as, you know, the jungle enemies and all that stuff. And I would do it, you know, improving, getting a life fruit, that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna put it in S tier. This is the first one where I felt kind of like, okay, you know, there's shit going down here. So okay, the next one is the Spectre bar. Sorry, I know it's kind of good for magic. I was never much of a magic user because I did not like the kind of cooldown effect for mana. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know a whole ton about it, but I won't give it an unfair rating. To what I've seen, I'd give it at like a B tier, because it has a pickaxe. You can use it to craft like paint stuff, but I know it's just like extra range and, you know, that kind of stuff. And usually you're using Spectre bar to use for crafting other things as well. But you can also craft wings with it, and the pickaxe is pretty fast overall, but you know, there's better stuff, there's better pickaxes in that, so I'll put it at a solid B. Okay, for the next one is titanium. So yeah, titanium was the alternative to obviously using the adamantite, and it's actually really strong. Like, it has a lot of defense to it. It's good at all the classes that I use. I never really used summon or magic, but I know it was really good for melee. This is a really good tier for melee, so if you just want to beat the crap out of enemies, I say titanium's the way to go. So I'll put it at A tier. Okay, Luminite was an endgame bar. Luminite was an endgame bar that most people wouldn't get to, including myself. So I had to go into the heroes mod, fight and use stuff with it. And holy shit, you can get some of the best shit in this game, obviously, with it. But this is like the climax of the game at this point. And there's several different weapons, several different armor sets, and each of the endgame armors are like specially designed for that specific class type. So I'm gonna put it at S tier. Surprise, because you need it. Get your butt over there, because you obviously need it to fight. I mean, so what are you gonna do? You know, you gotta have it to fight. Obviously, you have to fight the Moon Lord, which is, yeah, kind of the hardest boss in the game. So you gotta be pretty skilled, but it's pretty dang rewarding. But it's at end game, so kind of after that, there's not much else to do except like refight the bosses. So you're kind of maxed out at that point, but obviously it gets an S tier. But that's my only problem with it. But all things must come to an end. Shroomite was good for like, Shroomite digging glove was like pretty cool. It's basically kind of the same stuff. Well, it's a little bit better than Colophorate overall, but it's more so focused on digging. I'd say it's more focused on like the underground. Like, it's kind of hard to obtain because you have to get well, it's not super hard, but you got to get the auto hammer, which is you gotta like actually like do stuff. Yeah, you have to get the truffle to move in, and truffle's kind of an a-hole. But I'd put it at an A tier. That's about all I can say for it. Okay, for the next tier, there's a lot of blue ores. I apologize. So Cobalt, I kind of remember kind of being meh. The weapons were alright. It was kind of like Palladium if it wasn't like super good. So I'm gonna put it at C tier. Also, I've been recording for a while, so I'm just kind of like, you know, the weapons were okay, but it was really fast. I thought the like katana sword was pretty cool. The weapons are kind of like Japanese themed. I thought that was like a pretty cool like addition to it, but overall it was alright. So I'll put it at C. Copper, I'm sorry, Copper, you get an F. Everyone knows, everyone has used you, Copper. So yeah. Okay, for the last and final one is Crimtane bar. I keep mispronouncing this one. So, good for fighting Brain and Cthulhu, even though you kind of need to defeat the Brain Cthulhu. I mean, you could just keep fighting it multiple times and die several times and then get enough to craft the armor. But overall, it's really good armor to fight Skeletron. It's really strong armor. It's like this brooding force almost. It's really good for melee weapons. And I've always been kind of a melee user, so I'm kind of biased towards that. But I'll put it at like a low A. Sorry. So that's my amazingly random tier list. I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you guys disagree with me, or if you want to like be like actually you're not getting the Terraria lore right, or whatever. If you want to like correct me, that's fine. Teach me things. I'm kind of a noob at this game, but to what I know, this is what I would give these ratings to. So if you like my video, give it a like. If you don't like the video, dislike it. My name's Acidical Portal, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching.